Hey Steelers fans, buckle up because things are heating up in Pittsburgh, and when a franchise legend like Terry Bradshaw speaks, the football world listens. This week, Bradshaw didn't just share a casual opinion, he unleashed a fiery and brutally honest take on how the Steelers, and more specifically head coach Mike Tomlin, mishandled the development of quarterback Kenny Pickett. For anyone who's been following the drama surrounding the team's quarterback situation over the past few seasons, this is just the latest twist in a story filled with missed chances, questionable decisions, and mounting pressure on the franchise to turn things around. Let's rewind a bit. In the 2022 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers selected Kenny Pickett in the first round, hoping he would become the long-awaited successor to Ben Roethlisberger. It was a logical move at the time. Pickett had played his college ball right there. At the University of Pittsburgh, he was familiar with the city, and he seemed to have the poise and leadership qualities that could help him step into Big Ben's massive shoes. But from the moment he arrived in the NFL, things didn't quite go according to plan. Across 2 seasons, Pickett struggled to fully establish himself. He showed flashes of potential, had a few clutch moments, but the consistency just wasn't there, and much of that inconsistency wasn't entirely his fault. Fast forward to the 2024 offseason. The Steelers, clearly looking for a more immediate answer at quarterback, made a bold move. They brought in former Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson. That decision, although aimed at stabilizing the position, hit Pickett like a ton of bricks. He felt blindsided. In his eyes, the team that had drafted him to be the future was now casting him aside without ever truly giving him the tools or the time to succeed. It didn't take long for Pickett to request a trade, and the Steelers granted his wish, sending him to the Philadelphia Eagles. In Philly, Pickett found himself in a very different role. He wasn't the starter, and he wasn't expected to carry the franchise. But what he did get was a Super Bowl ring, serving as a backup in a high-functioning system that went all the way. While he didn't play a major on-field role in that championship run, the experience of being part of a winning culture certainly added value to his young career. It was a high point, even if it came in a supporting role. But just when things seemed to be settling, another twist came in the 2025 offseason. Pickett was on the move again, this time landing with the Cleveland Browns. Now he enters yet another quarterback competition, surrounded by a deep but uncertain room of passers. It's a tough situation, but unlike in Pittsburgh, he might finally get a real shot to fight for the starting job and prove that he can lead an NFL offense if given the chance. And that's exactly where Terry Bradshaw's comments hit hardest. During a recent appearance on the Morning Mayhem show, Bradshaw didn't hold back. With the kind of raw honesty only a Hall of Fame quarterback can deliver, he laid the blame for Pickett's struggles squarely on the shoulders of the Steelers' leadership. "I liked Kenny Pickett," Bradshaw said. "I liked him at Pitt. I know him. I know what he's like. And when they got him to Pittsburgh, here's what they didn't do. They didn't protect him. They didn't get him an offensive line. They wanted to run the football, but they didn't have an offensive line. They couldn't protect, and they didn't have weapons. He had no wide receivers to speak of." It was a scathing indictment. According to Bradshaw, the Steelers basically set Pickett up to fail. He argued that the offensive line was inadequate, the offensive philosophy didn't make sense, and the supporting cast wasn't strong enough to help a young quarterback develop. And while some fans might disagree, after all, the team had wideouts like Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, Bradshaw's overall point carried significant weight. The organization didn't create the environment needed for a young quarterback to grow, and the consequences are now plain to see. What's more, Bradshaw didn't limit his criticism to the roster. He took direct aim at the team's coaching decisions, particularly the long and frustrating tenure of offensive coordinator Matt Canada. You throw a kid in there for 2 years, and you got an offense that doesn't fit, doesn't work, Bradshaw continued. They can't run because their offensive line's not even good enough for a run-blocking team. And therefore they say Pickett was a failure. He wasn't a failure. The Steelers were a failure. Those words hit like a punch to the gut for any Steelers fan who believed in the team's direction over the past few years. Bradshaw didn't just criticize the team's execution, he questioned its entire philosophy. From roster construction to play calling to leadership at the very top, his comments suggested a deep rot within the organization, one that might explain why a once dominant franchise hasn't won a playoff game since the 2016 season. And here's where the heat really turns up. Bradshaw didn't name Mike Tomlin directly every time, but the implications were impossible to miss. As head coach, Tomlin is ultimately responsible for the team's culture, its direction, and its on-field performance. When a Hall of Famer like Bradshaw says the Steelers failed a promising quarterback like Pickett, he's pointing the finger at the man in charge. Whether it was retaining an ineffective coordinator for too long, failing to adapt the offense to fit the strengths of a young passer, or simply making the wrong calls in crucial moments, Tomlin's leadership is clearly under scrutiny. Bradshaw even took a shot at the franchise's reported interest in bringing in Aaron Rodgers during the quarterback shuffle, calling the idea a joke. It wasn't just about Pickett or Wilson. It was about the broader pattern of decisions that seem increasingly disconnected from the identity and success that once defined Pittsburgh football, for fans who have watched the team drift into mediocrity. While rivals retool and reload, these criticisms aren't just noise. They feel like echoes of frustration many have voiced for years. As we look ahead to the 2025 season, the pressure on Mike Tomlin couldn't be higher. He's held the reins for nearly 2 decades, guiding the team through both triumphs and turbulent times. But with no playoff victories in almost a decade, a fan base growing impatient, and now a Steelers icon publicly questioning the team's direction, the stakes have never been clearer. The next chapter of this franchise is being written right now, and how Tomlin responds might define his legacy once and for all. The 2025 season looms large, not just for Mike Tomlin, but for the entire Pittsburgh Steelers organization. After years of walking the line between contention and irrelevance, the team finds itself at a crossroads. The choices made over the past few seasons, especially those surrounding the quarterback position, have led to a buildup of frustration that now seems ready to boil over. Terry Bradshaw's comments, as fiery as they were, didn't come out of nowhere. They echoed the sentiments of a fan base that's tired of watching the team make the same mistakes and expecting different results. And the weight of those words hangs heavy in the air as the franchise prepares for what could be a make or break year. One of the biggest questions heading into the new season is whether Russell Wilson can truly bring stability to the quarterback position. Once seen as a dynamic playmaker and a Super Bowl champion, Wilson is now a veteran trying to revive his career after a rocky stint with the Denver Broncos. His arrival in Pittsburgh was met with mixed reactions. On one hand, he brings experience and leadership, qualities the team desperately needs. On the other, his recent performances have raised legitimate concerns about whether he still has the physical tools to succeed at a high level. The pressure on Wilson to perform will be immense, especially considering the way Kenny Pickett's departure played out. If the veteran quarterback stumbles early, fans and analysts alike will begin to question whether the team made the right call in moving on from a young prospect without giving him a true chance to grow. But Wilson isn't the only piece of the puzzle. For the Steelers to reestablish themselves as contenders, they need a lot more than just solid quarterback play. The offensive line, which has been a glaring issue for years, must take a significant step forward. Bradshaw's criticism of the unit wasn't without merit. A young quarterback like Pickett, or even a seasoned one like Wilson, can only do so much if the protection breaks down consistently. The inability to run the ball effectively, coupled with poor pass protection, has been a recurring theme in recent seasons. And unless that changes, the offense will remain stuck in neutral. Then there's the matter of offensive identity. Sure. Matt Canada, the Steelers' play calling, lacked creativity, rhythm, and adaptability. Drives would stall. Red zone efficiency was inconsistent, and third down conversions often felt like a roll of the dice. While Canada is no longer with the team, the scars from his tenure remain fresh. The new offensive coordinator will have to do more than just draw better plays. He'll need to rebuild confidence, reestablish a coherent philosophy, and find ways to maximize the talents of a roster that, despite its flaws, still has plenty of upside. The wide receiver room, often criticized unfairly by some, including Bradshaw, actually holds promise. George Pickens, drafted alongside Pickett in 2022, has shown flashes of star potential. He's physical, explosive, and capable of making highlight reel catches. Deontay Johnson, though occasionally inconsistent, is a sharp route runner with the ability to get open and make plays in space. The pieces are there. But like everything else on this team, they need to be used properly and placed in situations where they can thrive. Whether the coaching staff can unlock that potential remains to be seen. On the defensive side of the ball, the Steelers have long relied on their proud tradition of hard-nosed physical play. TJ Watt continues to be one of the most dominant pass rushers in the league, and the defensive line, when healthy, can wreak havoc on opposing offenses. But even that side of the ball has not been immune to inconsistency. The secondary has struggled at times, and lapses in coverage have led to costly plays and big moments. A unit that was once feared now has to prove that it can still carry the identity of the team when needed, and with the offense still trying. To find its footing, the defense may have to do more than just hold the line. It might need to win games outright. In this climate of uncertainty, Mike Tomlin remains a steady hand, at least publicly. He's known for his composure, his command of the locker room, and his ability to rally his players. But leadership is about results, and the results haven't been good enough. Tomlin's streak of non-losing seasons is impressive on paper. But in the high-stakes world of the NFL, moral victories only go so far. Fans don't just want a team that competes, they want one that wins when it matters. And year after year, the Steelers have fallen short in the moments that define great teams. Internally, one has to wonder how much leash Tomlin truly has left. Ownership has long shown loyalty to its coaches, and Tomlin has certainly earned respect through his years of service. But the NFL is a business of results, and if 2025 ends like the seasons before it, with missed opportunities from early exits, change might become inevitable. The idea of parting ways with a coach of Tomlin's stature would have once seemed unthinkable. Now it's at least part of the conversation. What makes the situation even more intense is the fact that the AFC North has become one of the most competitive divisions in football. The Cincinnati Bengals, led by Joe Burrow, are perennial contenders. The Baltimore Ravens, always tough and disciplined, continue to field strong playoff caliber teams. Even the Browns, long the punching bag of the division, have shown flashes of becoming a legitimate threat. There's no easy path back to the top, and the margin for error is razor thin. If the Steelers want to reclaim their place among the elite, they can't afford another season of mediocrity. They need to come out swinging, establish a clear identity. On offense, tighten up defensively, and above all else, win the games that count. Anything less, and the noise will only get louder. Bradshaw's comments may have opened old wounds, but they also served as a rallying cry, a reminder that the standard in Pittsburgh has always been greatness, and anything short of that simply isn't acceptable. The story of Kenny Pickett, while now part of the past, still casts a long shadow over the present. His journey from hometown hopeful to castaway backup turned Super Bowl champion is both ironic and painful for those who once believed he was the answer. Whether or not he succeeds in Cleveland remains to be seen, but his departure represents a lost opportunity, one that the franchise cannot afford to repeat. Developing young talent, making the right coaching hires, and trusting the process is how teams build dynasties. Pittsburgh knows this better than most. But knowing it and executing it are two very different things. And now all eyes are on what happens next. The 2025 season isn't just about wins and losses. It's about direction, identity, and proving that the Steelers still belong among the NFL's best. If they stumble, the consequences could reshape the franchise for years to come. If they rise, it could mark the start of a new era. Either way, the pressure is on, and there's no turning back now. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers around the NFL universe are growing louder. Could Tyreek Hill be on the verge of making history with the Pittsburgh Steelers? The rumor mill is buzzing with speculation that the dynamic wide receiver might be Pittsburgh's biggest ever signing, a move that would send shockwaves through the league and redefine the Steelers' offensive identity. Hill, known for his electrifying speed and game-changing plays, has long been one of the most sought-after talents in professional football. His ability to stretch the field and create explosive moments has made him a game-changer wherever he's played. The prospect of him joining the Steelers, a franchise with a storied history and passionate fan base, has fans and analysts alike imagining how this could reshape the team's fortunes. The Steelers, traditionally known for their rugged defense and methodical offense, could be looking to shake things up. Adding a player like Hill could inject a new level of excitement and firepower into their passing game, complementing their current roster and potentially elevating their quarterback's performance. This signing would not only bolster their offense, but also signal a bold statement of intent to contend at the highest level. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders suggest that negotiations have been intense and ongoing. The financial implications alone hint at a historic deal, possibly the largest in franchise history. If finalized, this acquisition could rival or surpass previous marquee signings, marking a new era for the Steelers. Fans are already dreaming of Hill's highlighted reel plays in the black and gold uniform, envisioning how his presence could open up the field and create mismatches for defenses. The Steelers have been searching for a true game-breaking wideout for some time, and Hill fits that bill perfectly. As the offseason unfolds, all eyes will be on Pittsburgh, waiting to see if this rumor materializes into reality. Should the deal go through, Tyreek Hill won't just be another player in Steelers history. He could be the biggest splash the franchise has ever made, a move that could change the trajectory of the team for years to come. The NFL world watches, eagerly knowing that when the whispers get this loud, something big might just be brewing in Pittsburgh. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.